California, Gavin Newsom, and I say, what percentage of contracts did black people get? I don't know what percentage of contracts black people got, but people of color got 30% of California contracts. Ain't a black person on the list. People of color, Brother Nick, is a way for them to take care of everybody else and exclude black people while making you think you included as well. I don't want to hear about people of color because all these other groups within the rainbow, stay with me, can't stand black people any more than white folks. So one of the biggest mistakes we've made in the post-civil rights era was allowing this government to redefine us as people of color. We are not people of color. We are the American Africans, the descendants of those who were kidnapped, brought here, and forced to work for free. We have nothing in common with the Asians, the Latinos, the East Indians, the Arabs, the Chinaman. None of them were enslaved, Nick. Everybody came to America as people. We came to America as property.
One of the biggest problems I see with black people in the race-first agenda of the most honorable Marcus Garvey. The biggest problem I find with black people in the race-first agenda of the most honorable Marcus Garvey, the biggest problem I find is black people feel conflicted about being for black people first. You're the only people in the world. You don't feel right. You feel like you are committing a sin against God. You feel like you're committing a sin against humanity by caring about your people first. Every black person I have heard, they always have to qualify their love for themselves by saying, I don't hate nobody else. Why do you have to say, I don't hate nobody else after you say, I love my people first? Why does every black person have to say, I don't hate nobody after they say they love themselves? You are the only people who have to clarify that your self-love does not mean hatred for any other group. You are the only people who has to clarify that your self-love does not mean hatred for another group. You are the only people in the world who have to qualify that your self-love does not mean a hatred for other group. Nobody else says that. The Jew says, I'm for Jews. It's assumed he don't hate nobody else. Chinese say, I'm for Chinese. It's assumed he don't hate nobody else. Latinos say, I'm for Latinos. It's assumed they don't hate nobody else. But when a black man says, I love black people, when a black woman says, I love black people, in the very next breath, right after they say, unapologetically, I love my people, they apologize the very next breath. Right after y'all say, unapologetically, I love my people, the very next breath, y'all apologize and say, but I that don't mean I don't have nothing against nobody else. I don't have nothing against, why nobody else has to clarify? You never hear nobody say, I love my people, but I don't hate the blacks. I love being Chinese, but I don't hate the blacks. I love being a European Jew, but I don't hate the blacks. I love being an Arab, but I don't hate the blacks. Why doesn't anybody else have to clarify their self-love? You're the only people who have to clarify your self-love. Multiculturalism is a trap. Now, let's talk about the emotional cost of multiculturalism. Is this beneficial for y'all brothers and sisters? This is my first live of the new year. I want to make sure it's beneficial. Ladies, give me some hearts. Brothers, give me some fists. Ladies, give me some hearts. Brothers, give me some fists. Are you learning something? Is this beneficial? Because I don't like wasting people's time, because I don't like people to waste my time. Are we learning? Okay. Okay. And make sure you subscribe to www.drumar.tv for more content like this. Because in the new year, most of my lessons, most of my wisdom is coming through www.drumar.tv. So make sure you go and subscribe tonight to www.drumar.tv. Let's talk about the emotional cost of multiculturalism. And I know every black person watching can identify. I don't care if you mixed race African. I don't care if you full-blooded African. I don't care if you American African, continental African, Caribbean African, British African, Canadian African, Australian African. Everybody can identify with what I'm about to say. The number one emotional cost of being trapped in a prison of multiculturalism is you always have to explain your black perspective. Give me some fire if you understand where I'm coming from right now. Give me some fire if you understand where I'm coming from right now. When you are the black person in the room and you give your experience as a black person, you have to always explain and defend yourself. If you understand, overstand, or understand me, give me some fire on Instagram. Give me some fire on TikTok. Give me some fire on Facebook. Who can identify? How many of you was at the job as one of the only few blacks, and when the Chinese gave their experience, it was okay? When the Arabs gave their experience, it was okay. When the Latinos gave their experience, it was okay. When the European Jews gave their experience, it was okay. When the Native Americans gave their experience, it was okay. But the minute you opened your black mouth and talked about what it is like to be black and how you are treated as a black man or a black woman, you had to explain yourself over and over again because everybody else in the room tried to dismiss your narrative. They tried to dismiss your experience. This is why multiculturalism is a trap. This is why multiculturalism is a trap. Because when you walk into a room as a black person, there will be some Chinese, there will be some European Jews, there will be some Latino, there will be some Native American, there will be some Arab, there will be some Anglo-Saxon, there will be some East Indian. It looks like it's multicultural, don't it? But guess what? With all that diversity in the room, guess what everybody in that room agrees on except you? Guess what everybody in that room agrees on except you? The white man agrees. The Chinese agrees. The Latino agree. The Arab agree. The East Indian agree. The Jew agree. They all agree that the black person in the room is irrelevant and unworthy of respect. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Even in a so-called multicultural context, you are still victimized by white racism through proxy from all the other groups in the room. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You say, wait a minute. This room is culturally diverse, but I still feel alienated in this room. And the reason you still feel alienated, even in a culturally diverse room, is everybody in the room hates black people. That's why you still feel so alienated. The Chinese in the room don't like black people. The Arabs in the room don't like black people. The Native Americans in the room don't like black people. The Latinos in the room don't like black people. The East Indians in the room don't like black people. The Anglo-Saxons in the room don't like black people. And this is why you can take a black person from an all-white room. You could take a black person from an all-white room. And by the way, African Latinos, I'm not talking about you. You part of the family. Afro-Latinos, I'm not talking about you. You are part of the family as long as you identify with us. Okay? I'm talking about anti-African Latinos, not African Latinos. Stay with me. So you put a black person in an all-white room and you say, I feel a lot of racism in this all-white room. I feel a lot of tension in this all-white room. I feel a lot of bigotry in this all-white room. And then I take you from the all-white room and I put you in a room that's culturally diverse. And when I put you in the room that's culturally diverse, your uneasiness doesn't go down. Your uneasiness doesn't go down. Your uneasiness doesn't go down. Your uneasiness stays the same or goes up. Why does your uneasiness stay the same or goes up when you go from an all-white room to a multicultural room? When you go into the multicultural room, you should feel more comfortable. Why don't black people feel more comfortable when we go into the multicultural room? I see you, Sister Aaliyah. I see you, Sister Aaliyah Sutton Bay. How you doing, gorgeous? Shout out to my good sister, Aaliyah Sutton Bay from Philly. I ain't heard from you in a while. You got to get at your brother. I got to come back on your radio show. The reason black people still feel uncomfortable is because now you're not just the victim of white racism. You're the victim of Chinese racism. You're the victim of Arab racism. You're the victim of Native American racism, Latino racism, European Jew racism. Oh yeah. Multiculturalism is a joke, brothers and sisters. It is a joke. Why are we the only people who have to always defend our experience? Look at when the police kill us. The police kill us, and there's a presumption of innocence, even though everybody saw the police take that black man's life. Look at the brother who just got tased to death. Look at the brother who just got tased to death. Look at the brother who just got tased to death. You're going to tell me that 2 or 3 cops can't take that young brother. He was not that large. You're trying to tell me y'all can't handcuff his ankles and carry his ass up out. That's what you tell him. You can't handcuff the ankles and carry that man out. You could. You wanted to kill him. See, when people engage Africans, they want to harm us. So they create a situation that makes it look like we are aggressing them and offending them so they can take our life. You said he was resistant? Look at all the white men who murdered people and were taken alive with weapons. Look at the Buffalo shooter. See, some of you Negropeans want to defend the police. And one of the police was a black man. One of the police was a black man. The police that tased and killed that brother the other day, one of them was a black man. One of the police that tased and killed that brother the other day, one of them was black. And you're going to sit up here and tell me they had to tase him. They could have carried his ass out. They could have carried his ass up out of there. Look at the Buffalo shooter. He was fully armed and they didn't fire a single bullet. They talked him out. What did they do in Buffalo, New York? The police said, we talked him into surrendering. Wait a minute now. He just murdered all these people and you talked him into surrendering. So why didn't they talk the brother into not resisting instead of tasing him to death? If they can talk the Buffalo shooter into giving up his rifle, why couldn't they talk this defenseless young man into not resisting? And you black people, I'm so sick of you always defending the white power structure. I keep telling you, we cannot take all these Africans with us for the Freedom March. These Negroes are loyal to white supremacy. Half of you Negroes are in love with your slave master. You are in love with them. There are black people who are absolutely in love with racism. They are married to racism. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have a big wedding ceremony. I want to officially marry all you buffoons. I want to marry all the buffoons in the community to racism. We're going to have some white mannequin dolls. I'm going to get some white mannequin dolls and put them in a wedding gown and let you beta male bootlickers walk down the aisle with the wedding song and put a ring on your finger. Let's officially marry you to racism. Let's just do it the right way. We need wedding rings. Where's our jewelers at? Where the jewelers at? Where the African jewel? We need some conscious jewelry. We need 2 million I love white people rings for black folks. Wedding rings. We need 2 million I love white people wedding rings. We're going to have a massive we love racism wedding ceremony for all the black people who are in love with their oppressor. We need to make that happen. We need to make that happen. When you endorse multiculturalism as a black person, when you endorse multiculturalism as a black person, you become an alien in a sea of people who don't like you. Imagine being a goldfish dropped in a fish tank full of piranha. Imagine being a goldfish dropped in a fish tank full of piranha. That's what you do when you endorse multiculturalism. You say the more color, the better. The more diversity, the better it is for everybody. The more diversity, the better it is for everybody. Really? So the Chinese man comes from China with a loan of credit to take over my neighborhood. The European Jew shows up from Israel with a line of credit to take over my neighborhood. The Arab shows up with a line of credit from Dubai or United Arab Emirates or Iraq or Afghanistan or Kuwait with a line of credit to take over my neighborhood, and somehow putting all them in the same space with me is going to make me feel better, look better, and do better. I don't know what crack you smoking. I don't know what crack y'all smoking, but that don't work for me. Multiculturalism is nothing but a disguise racism wears to psychologically seduce black people into dropping their guard. I'm going to say it again. Multiculturalism is a disguise that racism wears to psychologically seduce black people into dropping your guard. Nobody likes black people in the world. I've been all over the world. Nobody likes black people in the world. I've been all over the world. Nobody likes black people in the world. I've been all over the world. Stop playing this multicultural game. When they ask you, should we hire a Japanese? Should we hire an anti-African Dominican? Should we hire an Arab? Should we hire a Native American? You know what you should say? I think you need to hire another black person. I think you need to hire another black person. And why do you want me to hire another black person? Because I don't identify with nobody at this job. I don't identify with nobody at this school. I don't identify with nobody in this program, because everybody here showed up in America as an immigrant. I'm the only person in this class whose ancestors showed up as imported merchandise. Everybody in this school, everybody on this job, everybody in this community, they showed up in America as an immigrant with resources. I'm the only person who showed up as imported merchandise, and I'm the only one without any resources, and I'm the only one without a solid connection to the land of my birth, a solid political, economic connection to the land of my birth. So if you want to make it more diverse, hire more black people, because I'm the only person on the island in here. We have to stop being afraid to be black. We have to stop being afraid to let other people know we are black. For so long, brothers and sisters, we have stood down and we have bore the brunt of uncomfortability. And I'm telling you that in 2023, it is time for us to get comfortable and make them uncomfortable. I said in 2023, it is time for us to get comfortable and make them uncomfortable. I'm saying in 2023, it is time for us to get comfortable and make everybody else uncomfortable. Don't let them silence your black voice. Don't you let them silence your black voice. Speak up and say, I have a problem with this Christmas party. I have a problem with this holiday party. I have a problem with this retreat, because it seems like you catered to everybody's culture except mine. But aren't you American? I mean, I know you're African American, but you're still one of us. I am not one of you. I am not one of you. I am not an American by privilege. I am an American by circumstance. America isn't something I'm proud to be a part of. America is something that was done to me. When you say you are an Italian American, when you say you are a Greek American, a Russian American, a British American, you're talking about your prideful experience in this country. I have no such frame of reference. When I think of America and what it has been to me, I think of fire and brimstone. So the next time you decide to include me in a group of Americans, you better come and ask my opinion first. I am an African victim in America. I am an African prisoner of war in America. Don't you ever mislabel me as one of you ever again. Multiculturalism is a process of being seen but not heard.